This is Today with Nick Robinson.
It is 9:15 now. They've thrown tomato soup at a Van Gogh, mashed potato at a Monet, and chocolate cake in the face of King Charles's waxwork at Madame Tussauds. All attention-seeking stunts staged by the environmental campaign group Just Stop Oil, whose founder, Roger Hallam, the man originally behind Extinction Rebellion, argues that if you don't upset people enough, nothing happens. Others argue that disrupting the lives of the public puts many off supporting the cause and a more moderate approach is needed. Amongst them, Rupert Read, who's a professor of philosophy at the University of East Anglia, who did help found Extinction Rebellion, but now believes in moderate protests and is setting up a new organisation. He joins us along with an activist from Just Save Oil, someone who boasts of being arrested for direct action on multiple occasions, Indigo Rumbelow. Morning to you.
Morning.
Hello, good morning.
Indigo, just make the case, if you would, why you think that putting a chocolate cake in the face of a waxwork changes anything.
Hi, Nick. What I'd like to start with is what we all agree on, and that is that the climate crisis threatens everything we know and everything we love. That means it threatens our communities, it threatens our health, it threatens our families, and that our government's decision to pursue new oil is a death sentence for millions around the world.
That is not what everybody agrees on, though, Indigo. Indigo, sorry, I need to interrupt you.
The International Energy
people don't
Agency
all agree on that.
has said that there can be no new oil if we're to be serious about meeting our commitments on
Indigo,
climate.
I'm keen to have a discussion with you, but it does require me to ask you questions and you to give answers. So you make the point that there's widespread agreement on the threat caused by climate change. Fine, there is. It simply isn't true to say that everybody agrees that having new oil development will kill millions of people. They don't agree on it. In fact, no government in any country around the world of any political complexion agrees with that statement.
I think the scientific consensus around the world is that there can be no new oil and that pursuing new oil in the midst of this climate emergency is a death sentence.
Let me go back to the question I started with, though, because that's really what we're discussing today. How does putting a chocolate cake in the face of a waxwork change anything?
So we need to let everybody know through all walks of life, whether they're watching a football match, whether they're attending an art gallery, whether they're driving their car around the M25, that this is a very, very serious and very grave threat that threatens humanity. And that is why we're taking these actions to disturb everyday life, to say that everything is not okay and we all need to rise up in civil resistance now and take drastic action against governments who are pursuing new fossil fuel projects.
Just one question before I turn to Rupert. It's not that drastic, is it? It's a stunt and it gets you on the radio and we talk about it, we understand that. But really drastic, which some people have done, is to cause violence or to cause economic damage. There is a group in the UK called Pipe Busters that has cut through pipes taking fuel to Heathrow, for example. There's one in Germany that blows up oil pipes. Is that, in your view, is that sort of law-breaking acceptable?
Nick, there's many times when I'm sure you will agree that it is correct that people break the law. So if there is a burning house and I want to save a child, I will break a window, causing criminal damage. If there's a government who's persecuting a group of peoples, I would hide them in my house no matter what the risk to myself is.
So
if our government is pursuing new oil and gas, despite the warnings of the global scientific community, then I will stop them. I don't want to sign a petition. I don't want to go on a march. I want to march up to whoever's making this decision, sit myself down on the road, glue myself to that road and wait for an answer.
You've made that clear. OK, well, let's talk about whether that works as a tactic. Rupert Read, you used to think it did. You founded Extinction Rebellion. Have you changed your mind, or do you just think, leave that to Indigo and I'll do something to complement what she's doing?
I think the key thing, Nick, is that one has to change with the times. The epochal Extinction Rebellion of April 2019, well, that was over 3 years ago. And it achieved something dramatic and extraordinary, a real increase in climate consciousness. Now, it seems to me that the best compliment that many of us can now pay to the work, the successful work there of the radical flank, is to do something now which actually takes full advantage of that. So what we need is masses of people who are prepared to take action in their own lives, in their communities, where they work, to effect the changes that now need to be made. And what I'd say to people who don't like Just Stop Oil tactics is, well, fine, but don't waste your energy cursing at them, but instead do something that you actually judge to be better, to be more positive, to be more effective.
Just to be clear, though, Rupert, you're not actually condemning what they do. What you're saying is, well, young people will do that, and I'll set up something on top of that. You're in sympathy with what they're doing, aren't you?
What I'm in sympathy with is the diagnosis that Indigo gave about how grave the crisis is, and that's what the truth needs to be told about. The truth, for example, that we all know and we all privately say, and you'll be saying in your studio, Nick, and then over the next few weeks, that COP27 is not going to save us, that the situation is beyond desperate. And so what all good people of good conscience need to do is to find effective ways of responding to that situation.
Understood.
But you have a responsibility to seek to do something that actually is effective. And when people do things that are effective in their work, in their communities, etc., then I think maybe our young people will start to feel a little bit less desperate.
It's up to other people to help them stop. It seems to be your argument. There's more on that debate with Rupert Read, who you were just hearing, on a new podcast called Burn Wild. It's on BBC Sounds. It's a 5 Live podcast, which asks the question that Indigo was discussing there, which is how far is too far to go to stop the planet burning? All 8 episodes of the series are available now on BBC Sounds. Indigo Rumbelow, Rupert Read, thank you.